Good evening, campers. It is me, Kieran. Today we're going to be talking about Salman Rushdie's 2015 book, 2 years, 8 months and 28 nights. With that long of a title, we're going to call this 2 years for ease, but Rushdie's given us a clue with the word nights of what this is all about. This is a reimagination, if not a reinvigoration, of the 1001 Arabian Nights. Rushdie, being a storyteller and after being in hiding, has used story as a form of escape, and there are parallels between Rushdie and Sazaraja. I never know how to say that. I'll put the name here. I'm still unsure. In 1001 Arabian Nights, story is used in order to prevent their death. It's used to change people's perspectives. It's there to persuade. It's there to dissuade. Rushdie, within 2 years, takes a more modern approach. Not only is he setting this within New York City, but has the almost ethereal plane of this story centering around the climate. Discourse around the climate crisis, even 7 years after this book in 2022, is still somehow contentious. Don't worry, this isn't all doom and gloom, because I can't imagine it's going to get any worse than what happens in this novel. A storm happens every millennium. From that storm, the fabric has split, and through a series of wormholes, a vast number of jinn enter New York, causing havoc everywhere they go. But why is an infiltration of jinn, you ask? Well, 1,000 years ago, a philosopher, Ibn Rushdie, who is the person that Rushdie's family took the name Rushdie from. However, as Rushdie always does, there's a little bit of self-insert here. Ibn Rushdie has just finished his book, The Incompetence of Incompetence, which has been written as a rebuke to his contemporary Ghazali, who has written The Incompetence of Philosophers. Ibn Rushdie does not believe that there is a all-powerful God. This isn't a God that we should be following. There shouldn't be a set of rules that we have to follow. Are you seeing where Rushdie might be self-inserting? If you're completely unaware, just know that Ibn Rushdie will then be exiled for his views, but not before a jinni arrives. Dunya is an elemental transformer, and under the guise of a beautiful woman, and through engaging in conversation with Rushdie, scoodle poop like way more than you can think. And the jinn in this novel have great libido. They have great child rearing properties. Yes, the jinn can do it like they do on the Discovery Channel, and it's a discovery within Rushdie's work to have gender play so openly discussed, as the jinn morph, transform in order to delight and arouse themselves and pleasure themselves on Earth, something that they seem to be unable to do within the fairyland. Yes, fairyland, not the heavens, and that is a distinction that needs to be made. The reason is that there is a post-atheistic society happening within New York City, and these people are trying to rationalize the absurdities of flying carpets, people made of smoke, people made of fire, an old gardener whose feet don't touch the ground, a mere baby who survives the apocalyptic storm is able to burnish boils on people if they are corrupt. This isn't like Midnight's Children. All these normal people who have obtained these powers overnight have done so because they are the children of Dunya and Ibn Rushdie. They have been cursed. They are between human. They are between the spiritual. And by doing that, Rushdie is able to negate religion. He's able to showcase how both religious people and irreligious people will strive to reason the absolute unreasonable, the irrational, the illogical, in the way that best suits them. And Rushdie showcases throughout 2 years how both sides have flaws to them, if they so do believe that their set of rules are the standard, the just and the Measured. Kieran, you might say, when you picked up this book, it looks really short, and it is, it's under 300 pages. There seems like there's quite a lot going on in here. Oh boy, does Rushdie have an absolute whale of a time. This being a reinvigoration of the 1001 Arabian Night, there are a whole lot of characters that I can't even discuss. There are a whole lot of subplots that I can't remember, that feed and then leave and then sometimes come back and sometimes are just dropped completely. Sometimes we get backstories that literally it's a Rushdie thing, don't worry about it, that he'll just drop after 3 pages. There are so many characters, there are so many interwoven stories. It feels like an epic in miniature. You want to know the main plot of this? There are going to be 4 unlikely superheroes that have to destroy the Jinn. One of them is a 50-year-old man, Mr. Geronimo, who you were going to meet off at the start in New York City, an aged gardener whose feet don't touch the ground. Allow me to tangent here. If you don't like tangents, maybe this book isn't for you. There's so many. Not only is Rushdie's imagination working overdrive, but the amount of cultural, historic, and literary references that are jam-packed in here is unfathomable, and also creates a world where we laugh with it, that we know that, well, this clearly never happened, but within this alternative New York City, oh boy, yes, it did. People in France turning into rhinoceroses, a Russian general whose nose has fallen off and is now running amok around St. Petersburg. You might know both, you might know one, or you might know none of those 2 literary references. And that's fine. Story isn't meant to be known. Story isn't meant to be absolute. Stories feed into one another, and we are a wealth of stories ready to be explored. Rushdie is using the stories within the historical 1001 Arabian Nights in order to tell his current journey, his current political standings and belief, but also the current America and the current diaspora around American politics. I truly think if you've never read a Rushdie before and you want to know like exactly what he's about in like the best way possible, I think 2 years, 8 months and 28 nights is the absolute best beginner's place with Rushdie. For me, this is an 8 out of 10, and I hope that you pick it up